very good evening to all of you, and welcome to another round of weekly market update by SC Securities Limited. So, I will take you through the first few parts of the presentation, and rest will be taken by Harin as usual. And let me quickly start with the market updates for this week. So we had market operating for this week only for 3 days because we had a Tuesday and Wednesday as public holidays. So because of that, market only operated for like 3 days. So 3 days for all the 3 days, market went very good. I mean, the burst went up. It recorded new all-time highs. So specifically, when we talk about Monday, stock market all share index gained 0.89% on Monday and closed at 9,709.14. And also S&P SR 20 also closed at 3,553.61 while gaining a gain of 0.19%. So when talking about Monday, the majority of the gain in ASPI was attributed by CLC, like 80% of the gain in ASPI was contributed by commercial leasing. And when it comes to the turnover, it was relatively lower, like 2 billion on Monday. But if we reach to the market results on Thursday after 2 days of holidays, it recorded a new high of 9,881 and 50 point, was up by 172.36. So this was also the 100 points of gains when recorded from CLC, and also some strong earning forecast that the investors are been experiencing on some index heavy stocks like ACL, RCL, and Expo were like to bring up the market index for Thursday as well. And the turnover is comparatively high. It reaches to a level of 4 billion from 2.7 billion, which was recorded on Monday. So when it comes to foreign purchases and foreign selling, on Thursday, it was recorded as a net foreign purchase, which was slightly, I mean, considerably amounted a higher value than the foreign sales. So on Friday, the burst recorded a new all-time high, surpassing the level of 9,900, and the market ASPI closed at 9,915.22 with a gain of with the points 33.72. And that meant to be a new record for the first time in CSE's history. So does the S&P SL 20 was up from up by 33.02 points to 3,605.72. So turnover as well was comparatively increased to a level of 4.4 billion. But on Friday, foreign selling was recorded to be higher than foreign purchases, resulting in a net foreign outflow. So considering the existing bullish momentum in market, we can expect the burst to touch the level of 10,000 as much as possible quickly. But with the market signals and the prevailing updates, investors should be keen on what they are going to do with their investment decisions. So better to be cautious because we are up to touch a new level in market ASPI. And coming to the economic update, so the latest external sector performance statistics released. So with that information, the as per the surrounding headlines on this external sector performance, we have seen that the trade deficit widened to a level of USD 5.5 billion, and import expenses will further pick up. So with the statistics released that we have seen on year basis, trade deficit was up to a level of 586 million in August, compared to the previous year's same month. But on cumulative basis, the entire trade deficit was amounted to be like 5.5 billion. Actually, if we tell in million, it's like 5,509 USD million. So this was majorly due to the fact that despite the remarkable increase in merchandise exports, which actually amounted to like 1,100 US million, merchandise imports remained to soar. Even amidst the prevailing restrictions on several imports, it continued to increase. So because of that, uh, the import expenditure was observed to be higher than the import export income. So that's why the trade deficit was comparatively increased. And this increase in import expenditure could have been observed in all consumer, intermediate, and investment good categories. So if we consider them in itemized, fuel, machinery and equipment, textiles, base metals, and chemical products, whose prices were relatively up. And worker remittances were slightly declined for August compared to previous year, but on a positive note, we could observe that the earnings from tourism industry was amounted to be 7 million US dollars, which was actually zero in the previous year. Yet we are still lacking behind the averages we recorded prior to COVID-19 pandemic. We have to keep that on our mind. So the gross official reserves rose up to USD 3.5 billion by the end of August from 2.8 billion in July. This was majorly due to the fact that the receipt of SDR allocation from IMF and also the bilateral currency swap arrangement that our central bank had with Bangladesh Bank. So that's why the gross official reserves were amounted to be 3.5 USD billion. However, SR rupee was depreciated by 4.8% over US dollar during the month. That is because of the high exchange rate liquidity requirement relating to import expenditure. So overall weighted average spot exchange rate in the interbank market remained broadly stable during the month. So yesterday we got the news of headline inflation. When talking about the headline inflation for the month, it was slightly declined compared to the percentage that was recorded in the previous month of August. So for September, headline inflation was recorded to be 6.2%, whereas it was 6.7% in August. And the decline was entirely attributed to a statistical effect of using a comparatively higher basis for the last year's 2020 September inflation calculation. Nevertheless, food inflation too experienced a decline, whereas non-food inflation was remained to be the same. But anyhow, within the food category, the commodities like dal, onions, and fish was continued to increase despite the decline showcased in rice, vegetables, and sugar. But anyhow, we could expect that both the food and non-food inflation will rise up because of the existing fertilizer shortage and also the last week's government decision to remove uh, price controls over several commodities will lead to price increases. So we can expect that the inflation, food, non-food both will continue to rise up with these decisions. So moving forward, Treasury bill auction. When talking about the Treasury bill yields, central bank could successfully complete their Treasury bill auction held on last Monday, following Wednesday, a public holiday. They had to held their auction on Monday. So, talking about the Treasury bill yields, 3 months Treasury bill yield was significantly went up like 35 basis points to reach 8.39, whereas 6 month and 12-month yields also increased, where the bids for 6 month and 12-month yields was not accepted last week, but this time it was accepted at levels of 18.17 and 8.17 and 8.16. So this was considered to be the latest, the very recent successful auction held by CBSL. after the month of March and July. So the entire amount that was expected to raise was LKR 74.5 billion, and the entire amount was raised, and out of that 74.25 billion was raised from 3-month treasury bills. For the rest of the balanced amount of 0.25 billion was raised from 6-month and 12-month treasuries. So that's from the treasury bill update. And if we look at the exchange rates, LKR for against USD and Japanese yen was slightly appreciated, whereas USD and Japanese yen was slightly depreciated. On the other hand, the Great Britain pounds GBP and UR against those two currencies, LKR continued to depreciate. So that means the GBP and UR comparatively appreciated. And when it comes to the commodity prices, as you can see, both oil prices and gold prices went up, whereas prices and aluminium prices saw declining trend. Copper actually witnessed a slight decline, whereas aluminium decline was some sort of a considerable amount. So oil prices continued to sharp risely throughout the week, and that went to an year high on Tuesday due to the fact that the existing energy crunch hits, and the world is much more enthusiastic to know whether China would be able to meet its domestic heating demands in the coming winter season. So this existing deficit in oil supply will hopefully be eased by the end of fourth quarter in 2022. But despite the fact that oil prices will continue to surge until such time, and the rising coal prices and natural gas prices in Asia are expected to cause some end users to switch to lower cost oil as an alternative, as of industry experts mentioning the existing deficit in oil supply, as I mentioned you previously, will ease by next year, while the demand trying to catch up the supply forms. So when it comes to the global commodity prices on gold, it went up, as you can see, and that was majorly due to the fact that gold must be seen by the investors as an inflation hedge. So that's why they are majorly looking after investing in gold compared to other commodities. And the rising inflation expectations and softening growth expectations, especially amid surging energy prices and slowing industrial activity, would support global gold prices in the next month or two. So possibly we can expect a thing like that. And on the hands of copper, we see that the copper companies are warning about a possible shortage that could be happened in near future, due to the fact that majority of the environmentalists are against the finding and digging new mines to get copper. And because of that crashing objectives, they expect that the copper supply for next couple of months can be sooner get leads to a shortage. So that's what the probably the reason could be for the decline in copper prices, because copper prices are by 10% for this month due to this lower supply, and that demand will expected to increase alongside the global economy. So finally reaching to the international financial markets update, majority of the news headlines were about Evergrande. So much of thoughts and talks about Evergrandes, and at the very beginning of the week, they were all worried about that the 51% of stake was of Evergrande was about to buy, but that deal fell. So with that, majority of the global market fell out. But by the end of this week, I mean on on Friday, they made a sudden surprise interest payment to its bondholders. So with that, the majority of the global markets, including Asia, Europe, and US markets, have risen up and they have picked up gains. So, even the assurances from the Chinese state officials that they are going to handle the situation made a positive sentiment on investors, and that might be the reason for this kind of a rise in global markets we can expect. So, Japan's Nikkei also advanced by 0.3% today, again, which was majorly led by technology shares. But on the other hand, they are still worrying, the market is still weighing on the fact that the Evergrande crisis is still continuing. It's not completely sorted out, and the rising of oil prices and also the upcoming election season in Japan still weighing the market. And on the other hand, London's FTSE 100 was gained on Friday, was actually led to a 6-week high due to the fact that the mining stocks gained from the concerns over Chinese property market, and also the expected earnings, higher solid earnings recorded by US stocks went to a demand surge and made the indexes rise up in US markets as well. So global markets will continue to react on the positive earnings of corporates, but on the other hand, we have to remember the worries are still there. The eurozone is experiencing sort of a higher inflation this time, and they are experiencing, and then they are expecting it to rise up. So because of that, and also the Evergrande crisis, ongoing talks about it can have a sluggish effect on markets. So we have to keep that on mind when it comes to global market content. So I would like to hand off the presentation to Harin from here onwards. Harin.
Thank you, Sachini. So as we look at global commodity XAU-USD, which is gold, which is trading at around 1,800 at the moment and trying to surpass the barrier of 1,800, 1,805, which initially we were able to see it getting rejected on 14th of October. So currently the RSI is in the mid-range, and as of moment, we can see that previously we had some sort of a consolidation happening at around the daily support level 1740, 1760, and we did have some sort of a false breakout over that key region as well, where on 9th of August we were able to see the candle made a low of 1677. And also again we had a false breakout on 29th of September, which is 1721. So with that false breakouts, we were able to see that price of gold driving above the daily support level 1740, 1760, and currently the price seems to be quite bullish. So now that the price is actually trading at the psychological area of 1800, 1805, we might be able to expect another higher high formation once it is about 1805, which initially it's trading at around 1804 and fluctuating at the moment. So after breaking that, after sustaining over the level of 1800, we'll be able to eventually see gold making its way towards the next daily resistance of 1840 and 1860. So at the moment we can see clearly on 13th of October, there was some sort of a crossing which happened from a 18 and 8 moving averages, exponential moving averages. So with that crossing, we do have a bullish momentum since the price is actually trading above both the moving averages. So eventually the price could, once the price starts closing about 1800 for this week and starts trading about 1800, making a proper retest over the level of 1800, making it officially support level at that psychological area, will be initially seeing that price moving towards the level of daily resistance 1840, 1860. So again, we were able to see how gold was actually declining and consolidating over a period of time starting from June. We were able to see that price was actually declining in a descending trend. So now that the trend has been some sort of, there's a breakout from that trend, will be eventually see that price about the 1800 key level and moving towards the daily resistance of 1840, 1860. So looking at our all share index, So all share index recorded all new all-time high, which is 10,001.58. So it got rejected at the daily resistance level of 9,950, 10,000. So initially we were able to see the index made a high of 10,001.58 and managed to close at 9,915.22 for the week ended 22nd of October 2021. So previously we were able to see how the price managed to break that 9,450, 9,500, that previous daily resistance level, and initially made a retest, making it giving us a confirmation and making it officially a daily support level 9,450, 9,500. So now since the price is actually now the index, since the index got rejected from that key area, in the coming week we might see some sort of a profit taking, since this 10,000 key area is somewhat a psychological area, and also looking at the RSI, it has come to the level of overbought region, which is 73.55 at the moment. So we might see some sort of a higher low formation in between the level of 9,700, 10,000. So once the higher low formation is completed, we'll be able to see the index moving towards the daily resistance 9,950, 10,000 again. So looking at the moving averages, of course, since the index is trading above both the moving averages, we can clearly see that it remains to be bullish. But however, there's a strong gap between the index and also the 8 and 18 moving average, which initially gives us that there needs to be some sort of a correction at the moment, since there was a rejection today from the level of from the psychological level of 10,000. So therefore there could be some sort of a higher low formation coming down again, and there could be some sort of a consolidation happening around in between the level of 9,700 previous all-time high, and also the level of 10,000. There could be some sort of a consolidation and a higher low formation happening over the coming week. So looking our topic of the week, which is LIOC. So LIOC, we were able to see some since this is the weekly chart, we were able to see previously how the price was getting rejected from the monthly resistance of 2728, and or this was actually on September, end of September, we were able to see the price getting rejected on that month, specifically on that month, from the monthly resistance of 2728. And again, this was basically 2020 September, and again 2021 January, we were able to see end of January, the price actually managed to make a high of 31.3 and then starts trading below again the monthly resistance 2728. So after that, the price actually declined to the weekly support level 18.519, and then after that we were able to see some sort of a bullish momentum coming up in stock, and the price moved towards the monthly resistance of 2728. So this is a strong key area. So even for the week ended 22nd of October, we were able to see the price made it to high of 28.5 and getting rejected. Even last week it made a high of 28.5, and even this week we were able to see it made a high of 28.5 and getting rejected from that level of resistance. So continuous rejection from this resistance could actually lead the price to the weekly support of 24.5. If the price actually manages to sustain over this level and break the key level of 28 and starts trading above the level of 28, then definitely we'll be able to expect the weekly resistance of 29.30. So so far the stock seems to be quite bullish, but at the same time there needs to be some sort of a correction happening, because previously we were able to see a higher high formation in the month of June and higher low formation again in August, and now we are missing a higher low formation. So there could be some sort of a consolidation happening in the weekly support level of 24.5 and the monthly resistance 27.28. So looking at the moving averages, 18 and 8 moving averages, there was a crossing in the month of September. So since there was a crossing, and clearly we were able to see the price moving towards the monthly resistance, and there is some sort of a strong gap between the price and the moving averages. So we believe that the price could actually comes make a new higher low formation, and then only will be able to see from getting rejected from the level of 24 to 28, that in between that key area will be then able to see whether price would actually head towards the 27, 28 once again, or else would it come down to the level of 24, 24.5 and get rejected from that level. So at the moment, RSI is quite overbought, which comes to a level of 72.7. So previously we were able to see in the month of in the year of 2020 September, how when the price was actually overbought from at the level of 27, 28, how it declined. And again, once the price was actually trade making a high of 31.3, we were able to see that at that time also the RSI was actually at 71.94, and then how it got rejected from that monthly resistance again. So since now the price is actually, since the RSI is 72.7 and the last traded price was 26.8, and there was some sort of rejection even from the last week and this week, some sort of rejection, there could be some sort of a declining in the stock, and the price could actually trade in between the level of 24 to 28, and worst case it could come down to the weekly support 24, 24.5, and then make its way towards the monthly resistance again. So anyways, this all depends on the volume. So if the price actually manages to sustain over the level of 28 in the upcoming weeks, then we'll be able to see the price driving its driving towards the weekly resistance of 29.30. Thank you. Over to you, Sachini.
Thank you, Harin. So that will be the end of today's presentation. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel if you have not made it yet. So we'll see you all around in next week, and until such time, have a nice week. Thank you.